Action!
Action.
Welcome to everybody, SharePoint Dev Weekly. This is episode 11, which means that we've been having then 11 weeks of this, right? Is that?
Yes, correct. That would, yes.
That's what it would actually mean. So today is 29th of October, and we have a visitor in the room again. Well, not in the room, hopefully. Belgium.
His room.
His room. He has a visitor in his. What? But Bert, will you do the quick intro so you are?
So, Bert Jansen.
This is going so sideways. I'm going to just play you.
It must go sideways, right? Is that the plan?
Yes.
Okay.
So, Bert Jansen, a senior software engineer inside the Microsoft SharePoint and OneDrive organization, kind of focused on helping our biggest customers adopt new technology, keeping them happy, either with adoption, mainly, or with deprecation scenarios.
Yeah.
And as a result of that, lots of things that we do kind of flow into PnP, and that's why I spent my time as well, like helping PnP, growing it, doing things for the community, like all of you guys do.
Just to be super clear on, can you explain what is a PnP and what's your role on PnP? Because, hey, people might not know.
PnP,
they should know, but...
Plug and play. I take a cable and I plug it in and it just works, right?
Thank you.
People and people, right?
People and people. Okay, so PnP is patterns and practices, which is every bit of pieces of guidance, samples, and documentation, what we provide from SharePoint engineering to the community. Like 5 years ago, it was slightly different. A few years back, it was slightly different. Nowadays, PnP is the initiative which owns everything and provides everything on the guidance on the dev side, just to be clear on that. But Bert, will you actually do kind of a historical explanation? What's your role in PnP as well? So how did you got involved?
How much time do we have? Just very serious. Like like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I was working for enterprise customers. I was a consultant, just like Vesa was, and doing similar things, parallel things. We started talking, and why not share? Let's start sharing the thing that we find out, the thing that we create inside Microsoft Consulting Services. Yes, we want to just share because we like to share. We like people to reuse, everyone to be productive, etc. You know the thing. And then, I think it slowly took off until the point where we are today. Like until Microsoft Codeplex, right? Office AMS was Codeplex at a certain point. Then we had some struggles to get it to GitHub, but eventually everything went to GitHub. And now we are like 5 years later.
I don't think there was a massive struggle. The problem was that we didn't understand how GitHub actually works.
Those were the days that I said, like, damn, TFS is so much easier than GitHub.
That's true. That's
but
true.
By now, I think we all converted to GitHub and to the Git model, and TFS as well. TFS
I think it was on this Saturday, or was it Friday, or the final announcement that now GitHub is part of Microsoft, right?
That's correct. Yeah, so it started passing by.
Which
Microsoft.
It's an independent whatever organization and division in the Microsoft as well. But it's mind blowing. I've been in Microsoft now for 12 years, and when I started, we were using Windows 6.5 mobile devices with a something we were tapping that, and then iPhone came out, and then at the time leadership was like, no, nobody will use an iPhone. None of the Microsoft employees will use an iPhone because that's just never going to happen. And now we're transforming, and everything had to be Windows and Microsoft stuff. Now we are transforming to basically embrace the open source and all of that stuff, which is absolutely brilliant. Kind of related on that one, by the way, I noticed yesterday there was was it yesterday or the day before yesterday? I don't know. Time flies so fast. News around IBM buying Red Hat. That was pretty cool as well.
Yes.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
With
IBM buying Red Hat.
34 billion was the money what they actually paid for it. So it's just wow.
Oh. Was it Linux free? Why did they pay money for it?
Well, Linux is free.
Also, they buy now everything else, right?
Exactly.
Support, marketing, and so forth.
Yes.
Customer base.
But I still remember I think it was quoted to be the biggest IT deal ever, because with 34 billion. And I still remember back in, was it in 2010 or something like that, we as a Microsoft, we tried to buy Yahoo for 35 billion, and Yahoo guys said, no, we're not interested.
They're probably
they don't
regretting their decisions.
Yeah, exactly.
I can imagine they would be more interested now. However,
I think it would have been like 35 billion. It's just insane amount of money. Anyway, so but coming back on the weekly, let's say, schedule. So let's start with you, Waldek. Let's get back on the Bert, because Bert needs to know what are we actually discussing. What have you been doing on the last week related on dev stuff, so on SharePoint?
So the last thing what I've done is we've worked on a new release for CLI. We have new release of that with more commands and some improvements, and we go on working. Particularly one area that we're improving a bit more is the process of upgrading your SPFX project, so that if you have a project and let's say build in 1.1.1 and you want to upgrade that to 1.6. What we've seen over time, and that's going back all the way back to 1.0, is that oftentimes to upgrade a project, it involves some more steps than only upgrading the packages. Yep. So in CLI, we tend to simplify all of that. You basically run CLI, it gives you a report with all of the steps, the findings, which you can read through, or you can just grab the whole thing, paste in command line, and it will run and upgrade the project.
Yeah.
So we're working on that. We're improving that still continuously. And another thing is that a while back we talked about the connector for Flow that we've built at Rancor. So now it is live. It went live the last week. So now you can plug our analysis to Flow, which is kind of interesting way of doing things, because if you think about it, it allows you to check stuff that comes through your email, OneDrive, or even directly to Azure DevOps, because it also has a connect, or there's a trigger based on a build. So you can plug it to many things, or even if you have packages in library, in SharePoint, or even the files that you upload to Azure Blob, all of that can be analyzed. So it's really cool that is live, and now we're thinking more about scenarios, samples, templates, basically the marketing side of things.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Which is a super important thing as well, which reminded me we're going to talk about that one later today, but that's an example. So the marketing part of the thing, super important. A classic Finnish scenario, probably even shouldn't.
What did you do now, Vesa?
No, I didn't know. That's reminded me on the. So we will have a look on today, for example, the site design designer, the tool as one of the things which was shared last week. But that was actually originally created already in March, but nobody knew about it because there wasn't really enough visibility on it. And last week we started promoting on that one, and people went like, "Oh, this is brilliant!" But that's a good example of the things. Obviously, you need to have a good product. But having a good product isn't enough. People need to know that it actually exists. And that's a super important thing. Obviously, and even personally, when in the past, I've been saying this many times, as an example, Microsoft is more a marketing company than a software company, so to say. Somebody's going to quote me on this one. But
well, you have to do both, right?
Exactly.
You cannot do 50-50. One without the other. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
It reminds me of going to a conference, asking like, who has used Migrate tool, for example, and then
the what?
Migrate tool?
My tools that I created, whatever, guidance, designs. Then it's like, all right.
What?
I need to do some marketing, I think, because there's no one raising their hands.
Exactly.
So maybe as such, at PMP, we should create a marketing course. Like what to do, like what is the run book to do when you build something, how to share your stuff with the world.
True. If the marketing director of PMP has time for that, so that's the thing.
Let me send him an email to remind him, dear Vesa.
Yeah, that's my role. Anyway, so I don't do anything more than marketing anymore. No, just kidding. I do. Bert, what have you been doing on the SharePoint Dev side?
SharePoint Dev side. I've been mainly focusing on modernization.
We'll have a look on one of the videos.
We'll have a look on that in the coming minutes.
Which is really cool stuff, absolutely.
It's one of the things that I'm currently working on, for example, is HTML transformation. Sounds boring or easy, but...
No, it isn't. No, it isn't. That's really cool.
Because in the end, a wiki page contains a blob of HTML.
Yep.
With all kind of crazy formatting, because wiki pages allow a lot of things, and how to transform that in a proper way to something that a modern text editor does understand and doesn't throw away. Because you can push everything in it and it will show it. If you click on edit, boom, it's gone because it's not compliant.
Yep. Right.
So, and the previous implementation was something like, I just try to fix HTML, kind of taking the blob from the past and then trying to fix it. But I just threw that overboard and let's start from scratch, build something completely new. Just take everything and do it the right way. Just kind of transform every node, every element, everything, and see where we end.
So for that, do you use XSLT, do you use DOM, or do you use regex or something else altogether?
I use Angle Sharp, which is a library, HTML parsing library, one of the popular ones. It's really fast and it gives you like a DOM model to work with the nodes and kind of create a new document, put nodes in there, read the styles, read the classes, everything, kind of
nice
transformation work. So yeah, otherwise it would be, with regex, it would be like a nightmare.
I mean, I've done that in the past.
Yeah, but you don't want to see my code.
Yeah, and
well, we actually do see because it's open source.
As well, that's true. I can't hold you back.
But that will be part of the tooling and guidance what we've been building, right, Bert, on the transformation guidance?
This needs updates to transformation guidance, and this will be in the new transformation versions that we plan to release.
Yeah, makes sense.
It's all part of page transformation, just for the high-level perspective.
Yeah. So which is the most difficult part anyway, because the list transformation is kind of automatic. It's just which experience do you actually use in classic or modern, and that's just basically it. I'm sure there are certain list types which are not yet and will definitely might not be supported in the modern experiences, but really the page transformation is a difficult part from a web part page or a wiki page or publishing page to the modern page. So
that's why it isn't native in the product for now.
Yeah. What do you mean? One step at a time. One step at a time. Yes. Cool. On my side, we've been prepping on the 1.7 release, obviously, and testing that stuff and making sure that it's available and working properly for documentation, which again is a good reminder on all of the stuff. Kind of in the same way. When the engineers do something and then now it works, and then they drop everything and then they go away, and then they forget about always the fact that, well, even though it would work and it would be the awesome feature ever, if nobody else knows about it or nobody else can document that, how could they actually tell the other people how awesome it is? And that's one of the struggles what we're having internally nowadays in engineering as well, because people do awesome stuff. So as an example, app-only support for modern site creation actually does exist and has existed since July in SharePoint Online. For group associated sites, for communication sites.
Let me send an email here.
Did you miss the memo?
Yes. No.
You missed the memo.
Discussion.
There was no memo.
Discussion on Friday related on this one, and apparently the developer was like, "Yeah, so I finalized that in July. So it's been in production now since July." It's like, okay, cool, but if we don't know about it, how could we even tell that to the world? Come on, people. No.
It's like, why would you want to know? Stop being curious.
Exactly. We have a balance between a kind of process and agility, right?
Yes.
Kind of, and maybe the agility is slightly winning compared
to agile.
The process.
Too agile.
It's too agile sometimes. Well,
yeah.
It is pros and cons, but let's not go over there now.
Let's not deep dive. Otherwise, we need to
internal
go
kitchen.
Exactly. Let's not explain how the internal process actually works in the sausage factory. So, not a smart thing.
You throw them in the soup and then.
On that bombshell.
On that
the weekly announcements. Yes.
Exactly.
The weekly news.
So what I wanted to do first, let's actually do quickly this one, if I can find the right screen again. It's that one. So I wanted to show something which is coming in 1.7, so we get something interesting and what people actually hasn't seen yet in the world. So you get something unique visible. Let me actually get you guys on that screen. You can see my screen, right?
Yes, we see a modern team site in SharePoint 2010.
Cool. Like you should be called this one. So is that 2010? No, it isn't. So this is our eDoc. So this is basically our super early environment. So if you see something which is not yet available in your environment, that's because this is our day-to-day
design.
Yeah, it's by design, day-to-day environment. Now, what I wanted to quickly show here is that there's two things, actually. We want to show quickly how you can take a existing Microsoft Teams application, like in this case, in here, the task Mio is actually Microsoft Teams application. So created for Microsoft Teams, basically using the iframe technique, what we have in the Microsoft Teams. And then it is actually a website hosted in Microsoft Azure, right? So you can actually expose that as a tab in Microsoft Teams. But starting from 1.7, you can actually use those applications as such automatically in SharePoint. So you just have the exact same manifest file, exact same zip file, which you would actually deploy in the Teams, and you can actually use those, put it in the app catalog, and woof, it will just have it.
So in other words, you will be able to expose your Teams app as a part in SharePoint.
Correct.
Ah, convenient.
Oh, you were not aware of that? No, just kidding.
Well, I didn't get that memo.
So
my queue actually says, act surprised when Vesa.
Yeah, because all of these are scripted, right?
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, the marketing team approves.
So let's create a page. Let's create a modern page here. Let's call this a SP Dev Weekly, or let's call it Weekly, so it's easier to update that page, because I will update the page in a second. So in here now, if I search the web parts, obviously we have out-of-the-box web parts. There's quite a lot of other web parts here as well. But now if I go Meow, I think it was tasks related. Yes.
Task
so
Meow.
This one doesn't have a icon on it. It doesn't matter. So again, we are in a dev preview environment, or not. We are in alpha environment. But here we have a Microsoft Teams application exposed as a Teams. Exposed as a web part, basically in SharePoint site, and that's actually pretty cool, right?
And that runs inside an iframe here.
It basically runs inside of the iframe. There's no setting for this one. Potentially there could be even settings, and let's actually publish that one. It is an iframe. What's also important here to notice is that let's actually close that. If I resize the page, obviously the iframe resizes as well.
Sweet.
So everything is scalable.
This is pretty cool.
Everything works. So cool. So now the second thing what I wanted to quickly then in the concept of this one is to show the single part app pages, which is coming. That got a lot of attention actually last week when I posted a preview on that one. It's like, holy, this is exactly what I want. So now this is here, a website. This is basically now running from, how do I actually get this? View source? No, inspect, no.
Inspect, yeah. Although you don't want to inspect the frame, right? You want to inspect the page.
So
Cool.
So here's the iframe, and that's getting now loaded from taskmeow.com. So basically, you control what's getting rendered in that iframe, and then it resizes automatically, and all of that will take care of that. Now, if you would like to have a lockdown page which end users cannot edit, you can actually do that using single part app pages starting from 1.7. And that's really cool, because now what it means is that in 1.7, when we start, don't worry about all of this, but
work in progress.
When we start, you need to do this flipping of the page layout manually. So it is a developer operation. So let me actually update the script slightly. I'm going to just update the ASPX and everything else. Will provide you the needed guidance in the JavaScript and PNP PowerShell and most likely CLI, right, Waldek?
Correct.
How to flip the page layout, because there's no UI to do that. But in my case, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to actually not do that. I'm going to go here, DevTools. I'm going to paste in the needed basically script, which is updating then that weekly page to use a single web part app page as the page layout. Entering that one.
3, 2, 1, done.
Yay. And now if we refresh the page, we can actually see that we have a app page, single part app page, which is actually, there we go, now it's loading, which cannot be edited. So now it's basically locked down based on the end user. Well, the end user cannot modify or edit. So you as a developer, you control what's visible, and that's it.
So it's a fixed page with one web part.
It's a fixed page with the one web part which is scaled. You cannot have a multiple web parts, multiple zones, anything like that. When we start, it's potentially supported in the future, but this is the step number one with 1.7.
Now, can I, for example, put like another web part on it?
No, there's no way. There can be only one web part.
No, but then another first-party web part.
You can have you could have a whatever third-party web part there. Text doesn't work, but if it's like, for example, the Bing web part or whatever.
Yeah, or an iframe embed web part, like the content embed web part, so you can put like any iframe in there as well.
Yes.
And if you had an extension on this page, would it still work?
It should. I haven't actually tested that. That's a good point to test. Put that one on the list of
putting you on a spot. Putting you on a spot here. Sorry.
But absolutely, it should work. It should render, and if it doesn't, that's a bug which we need to resolve because it provides the consistent look and feel, and the header placeholder should be there. Everything should be there. Yeah. Now, what's also really cool about this one, I'm not going to do this creation one by one. I already have it in here. So this one, this is a modern theme site. So it has the left menu. But now if you do the same in a communication site, you don't necessarily have the left menu, or you don't have the left menu. So now you have a single page experience or where you own the whole rendering. And again, everything is responsive. So if we resize, everything works just magically. No scroll bars, no nothing except when it's actually needed. So everything is fine.
Perfect. That's really cool. Yeah. It's perfect.
And what you see here also is that I'm actually changing slightly the behavior on the header. So this is something which is coming, so we can actually adjust the header size. And that's something which we previewed actually in Ignite as well. So it's part of the theme, so to say. So I can actually do the minimal. And then there's a minimal SharePoint layer here. Now, somebody actually already said it in the Twitter and the social media that, well, I would like to get rid of that one as well. That's not how we want you to use SharePoint, because then it's no longer a SharePoint. So now we are in the Office 365 and in the SharePoint, and this is still the SharePoint experience. Now, the search will be relocated on the header sooner or later, which was announced in the Ignite as well. So there will be changes and additional capabilities on here, and obviously feedback is more than welcome. So, and the fact that I can actually see this one here, I'm not seeing, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, because now if I go to the root of this site, as an example, we have configured that custom page to be the welcome page of the site. So it doesn't matter how do you end up on this site, it will actually always, or if you click to the root of the site, it will always render the same page. Cool.
But I guess so in a way you could think of it that is a convenient thing, because in that way you can have multiple apps within a single site where each app is a different page. So you don't need to create a separate site for every app.
That is correct as well.
And then that way you could go to a welcome page, which is then the menu of your apps. And then you can just quickly jump from one app to another through there, right?
Yeah, sure. That's one way of thinking that. Absolutely. But really cool stuff in 1.7 coming rather in
by the end of the year.
Months, by end of this year, so it's the official statement. But it's obviously earlier than that. We don't want to release anything too close to Christmas, too close to Thanksgiving. So that will set up the schedule for us. So. Cool. That's it for this one. So let's actually jump back on the other stuff which we wanted to go through. So that was basically this teaser thingy, which actually got quite a lot of attention from last week. So people clearly wanted to see this in practice. So that's why we covered that. Now the other stuff. Mikko actually reached out to me and asked that, hey, can you help me on getting any visibility on this one? I'm sure I can help you with that. Because this is really cool stuff. So the site designer IO, so if I open up that one, It is a site design, open source, free tool for creating site designs and site scripts using this really cool responsive package. So you're able to basically then add functionalities or add lists to the package, and then able to add fields, add a normal field, and set those settings and the text field type. Really cool stuff, because you can see the whole the time the development in here, and then you're able to basically copy that and use it as such. Really, really cool. Technically, this is what we should have natively out of the box, right? In certain level, at least. But again, it comes down on the resources, everything else. Who knows? Maybe we'll call you, Mikko, and start having a discussion if we take this one and adapt that inside of the product. Who knows? But it's really cool stuff. Super, super valuable, and really fluent, and shows the editing is happening really fast as well. So super, super nice stuff.
Cool.
And this is a good example of Mikko actually released this back in spring, but then unfortunately it didn't get that much additional visibility. Now it clearly got some additional love and visibility. And to be fair, in spring people were not that up to date what is a site script and a site designs. Nowadays people are, so makes sense. Cool. What else do we have on the list of things? So David Warner had this awesome picture, which we wanted to cover. Because the first impression, to be fair, I had the exact same first impression. That's Chris Kent. The question is, what on earth?
Well, we travel all over the world, dressed like different things, entertaining people, spreading the words about SharePoint framework. There you go. That's the.
Totally. That's
is it our new PNP logo?
It is the mascot. It is the
our mascot. Yeah.
Yes.
Our PNP mascot.
PNP mascot. Yeah. Apparently, they had agreed that people should be wearing something because it's Halloween on the SharePoint Saturday in Cincinnati. So that's why he was dressed up like that one. But when I saw this on Saturday, I was also like, "Wait, what?
We don't do that in Europe."
That's really cool. Other stuff, Frank Cornu had a new version of adjustments on the script editor web part. It's not script editor.
What?
Script editor. What am I saying?
I have no idea. This is not the right tweet. Refiners.
Refiners. Web part. Yep. I'm saying something else what I'm actually reading. So search Refiner's web part, and this one is stored and developed also in the PNP repos. Really cool stuff because you can actually control the rendering, you can control the behavior. It has a lot of individual settings available on the web part. So super usable. The power of this one comes from the fact that you're able to customize the layout of the results, like the classic kind of search web part in the past. Now, we in engineering and in SharePoint search, or the search sites in general, we've been, because there was the reorg related on search, it's now not part of the SharePoint, it's in a higher level. There has been some delays on getting the search modern experiences, let's say, more customizable. I would assume or expect that we will see more announcements, out-of-the-box announcements there in the future. But what's really cool around this one has a few different web parts, and you're able to combine them, you're able to make them communicate between each other and all of that. So you can click the data source to be from the text box, and then you're able to render or define the templates and all of that. So super cool. That's what we're actually seeing right now. So there we go.
I think it's just
really powerful. It's insanely powerful, indeed.
And way more flexible than the out-of-the-box one.
Yeah. But really cool stuff. So thank you, Frank, for contributing on that one. And this one is available from the GitHub SharePoint web parts repo. So we'll absolutely add links on the video notes for that one. Now, something else. So this one is from this weird guy from Belgium called Bert. Wait.
Looking around. I don't see him.
So I'm going to actually mute this one. But basically, it's around preview on making page modernization available for SharePoint user. Do you want a quick intro on what are we doing here?
Absolutely. So page transformation is the fact that you take an existing wiki or web page and create a modern client-side page from it. And that already existed for like a while. We officially shipped the V1 of the SharePoint transformation framework during Ignite. And that's an assembly, a NuGet package that you can pull down and use in your projects in .NET or PowerShell to actually take a page and generate a new modern page out of it, which is great. But while working with this, while talking to customers, we've learned that customers want their end users to be able to trigger this, to drive this as well. Because in the end, it's the guy that created the original page, the one using the site, that has to say like, yeah, I'm okay with the transformed page. I like it or I don't like it.
Yep.
And that's why we are working on a kind of a modernization kit that you can deploy in your tenant that will allow this type of scenario. You will see additional buttons appearing in the ribbon where you can, as an end user, initiate a transformation process. And then, as a result, you'll get a modern page created from your classic wiki page. And you, as an end user, have the option to either like it and keep using it, or say like, yeah, this is not good. Let's say, for example, certain web part is not transformed, and I can't live without that, so I go back to the classic page, which is fine. Yeah. Here on screen now, you see this is a toolbar, which is a SharePoint framework web part that is put on the page during transformation time. And if you click on the Keep This Page button, it kind of removes itself from the page and does page name swapping. If you discard, it will ask for like, why don't you like this particular page? How can we improve it? And then it deletes the page and goes back to the original old wiki page.
Yeah.
That's kind of a nutshell.
Yeah. Sorry.
So that's that's kind of in a summary. This is a preview, a teaser, like something. This is coming. What you saw there, the red banner probably will look way more fancy. I hope it will look more fancy in the final release. But the target is to have something available for you as a customer to use by a European SharePoint Conference time frame, which is end of November.
Yep.
It will be like a SharePoint PnP template, PnP provisioning template, to put it in the correct name, which you can install in your tenant, which contains all the bits for you to set this up. So in the backend, there is an Azure function secured using Azure AD. It depends. It uses SharePoint Framework 1.6 capability to call into an Azure AD secured service. Because in the end, under the hood, the transformation is done using the user making a request. So if I'm user A, hitting the button, it's user A, me, doing the actual request. If I don't have permissions, it won't work because I have to have permissions to do it.
Yeah. But now, in short, here's the transform. If I go back in here, here's a classic page. Yes. And then if we flip in here, here's the same content, exactly the same content, same formatting, and even the web part mapping is there. The tooling in the modernization framework you're able to say that if you use an X web part in the classic, this is what you're going to replace that in the modern. It could be the replacement could be multiple web parts. It could be a configuration of a custom web part and whatever. So
yeah, you can fully tweak it to your needs. Default will support out-of-the-box web parts, so it will only transform towards first-party web parts, which are available on SharePoint Online.
Yep.
But if you like to plug in your own web parts, you can do that. Yeah.
Cool. This is really nice.
Cool. We'll add links obviously on the videos. Now, a few other stuff. Stefan keeps on plugging every single week, which is always cool. So Kickstart SPFX deployment build chain on any file chain. So basically having a gulp watch configuration or in the tools. Sorry, gulp task, which is then basically doing the modifications or the rebuilding of the things regarding whatever file is getting changed on the solution package, solution folder, right? Now I'm saying
correct.
Right.
Yes.
Because there are certain file types which the out-of-the-box existing model doesn't take into account. So if you would like to refresh the solution, so you can actually modify and tweak that. So simple, but and a small, short blog post, but explaining the scenario really well. Good work, Stefan, on that.
Nice.
Now, some other stuff which I wanted to pinpoint because I haven't had a time to update all of the docs and do promotion of this one. So we've started now a journey of refreshing all of our SPFX training packages. So we actually have already 2 modules redone. And so if you go to the GitHub/SharePoint and if you do training, if I can write training, there we go.
Almost.
You can see 2 different modules. So SP Dev training, SPFX getting started, and then the web parts. There will be more like the extensions and a few other, there's like 7 or 9 modules. I was just reviewing the plan earlier today. But in here, you can already see the 2 modules which are ready to go. There's demos, there's a hands-on labs, there's the presentation available, and we also have the video recorded. So AC, Andrew Connells, is then delivering the actual and the video version of the training thing as well. So if you are an MCT or if you need to train multiple people anywhere in the world, all of this is for you to take advantage. Not that one step back. Here we go. For you to take advantage as a training package. So you can pull this down. If you don't like to pull it down using Git, you can always go download a zip file. You can extract that. You can reuse the slides any way you want, all of the material any way you want. Everything is basically MIT licensed, which means have fun and reuse. So super important thing as well. But these are now refreshed for the starting point, and we'll keep on refreshing additional modules as we move along on this journey. If we go to the YouTube video side, let's actually get in here. And if I go to the SharePoint developer community site, we should see, and we will see, the SharePoint framework, getting started with SharePoint framework training videos. And this is basically the full list of all of the modules. Now, there's some old videos here, but then there's the new ones already associated on the playlist. Cool. Good. Just to promote that one as well, so I'm not forgetting that. Now, a few other stuff. This one came out yesterday, so we released a new set of view formatting samples, which we used also in the Ignite 2018 conference. So there's the resource catalog as an example. So how to build a resource catalog. This is a list basically, which is then using view formatting to render the list results in a slightly different way. And it's obviously also natively responsive because everything in modern SharePoint, well, everything in modern SharePoint is responsive. There are certain exceptions though, but still. And then different kind of rendering, for example, for documents, document listing, and all of that. And all of these samples are JSON samples. So these are available. Let's see. Where's the link? Where's the link? Where's the link? Come on. What? Up.
It's not
all the way up. All the way up. All the way up.
Did I miss it? I missed it.
You can browse and download all these more on the Microsoft 365 resource center, 2 paragraphs down. Yes.
Okay. I have no idea where this actually goes. Oh, here we go.
Here. There you go.
Downloads. There we go. Now we can
it's
actually.
So easy. So easy.
Retail account view formatting. So let's actually go in here. It will actually then open up. This is what I was looking. Where's the link? It will open up the sample directly from the GitHub SharePoint organization, obviously, and SP Dev list formatting is the repository where we have this. This is coming from the Todd Paczynski, and Todd Paczynski's his company provided some of these samples, and you can actually find quite a lot of different samples in here for column formatting and list view formatting as well. So really easily then usable. You can basically go to any list as long as you create the right columns. You can just paste in the JSON formatting, and poof, it will look awesome. So, like the out of the box wouldn't look awesome, but it will look more awesome, right?
It will do some more things which you might need.
Yes, that's it. That's true. That's true.
Or it might break.
And obviously, what's the big thing about that one is that you don't have to necessarily write a code. So you don't have to write a SharePoint framework web part necessarily. Now, anybody who has edit permissions on the list can modify the JSON. If that's a problem for you, then you might probably want to write an SPFX web part. But again, it's a design decision. Do I implement my stuff using a view formatting, or do I implement my stuff using a SPFX web part or a list view, or let's say SharePoint framework extension? So again, Decisions. The final thing what I wanted to quickly pinpoint, GA happened for SharePoint 2019 a week ago on Monday, right after we recorded our last week's SharePoint Dev Weekly. And one thing to notice on here, so SharePoint 2019, SharePoint 2019 is out. It will support SharePoint Framework. How would I put the right version? 1.4.1 minus the Graph API support. It's a combination of 1.4 and 1.4.1 because it's basically 1.4, but still the latest tooling, so that we will support the right NPM version and Node version.
So what version of the SharePoint Framework YOMR generator do we use? Or we use the latest and then we say, create a web part for SharePoint 2019, and then it's solved and we don't need to worry about it?
So that's absolutely a fair question. So let me actually show this one in practice. Where is my, where did you go? Oh, you went there. Why did you go there? Wrong screen. Let me actually get rid of that one there. There we go. So let's actually, now that we are on the topic, so let me go to the PMP 170, and I can do MD weekly, CD weekly, and then let's do Microsoft SharePoint. I will zoom this slightly so you can actually see what's happening here. Now, when we use the 1.7, so if you use before 1.7 goes out and you want to target SharePoint 2019, you should be using the 1.4.1, and then you basically do not take advantage of Graph because Graph doesn't exist in the on-prem. Kind of understandable. Yeah. Now, when the 1.7 is out, you will get a new option. So you will actually get this 3 option. What is your environment? So are you targeting SharePoint Online, which is always the latest and greatest, SharePoint 2016 onward, including 2019 and SharePoint Online, and SharePoint 2019 onwards, including SharePoint Online. This is going to be pretty nice. I don't know if we will.
It will get longer, right? Exactly. It will be like a pyramid.
If there will be new on-premises versions at some point, it will be a nice pyramid of selections at some point. But hey, we'll see how it's basically done. But this is in 1.7, and then when you select the 2019 onwards, including SharePoint Online, and you will basically get the combination of 1.4 and 1.41 as the output on your package JSON file, and then that will work in the SharePoint 2019. So, but that's coming in 1.7. 1.7 is not out at the time of this video being recorded, and it won't be out later today. That's for sure. But in weeks rather than in months. So. We have certain targets, but I can't promise you. I can't say the target timeline because somebody's going to be mad if I do that. Cool. But that was all what we wanted to. Yep.
Yeah, no, this also reminds me of the fact that we have SharePoint 2019 support for PNP components in the schedule as well.
That's a fair
SharePoint
point.
PNP site score, so core components.
Yes.
Just a coincidence today. But
no such thing as a coincidence.
Let's actually.
We should have support for this one as well.
Yep, absolutely.
Cool. 2019 because it's not there yet, and it's on our backlog of things to do, and now it's out. We can't avoid doing it anymore. I would say. So,
True.
Yeah.
True. Now we need to actually make that happen sooner or later, and that we are not forgetting about it. Let's get Erwin on the screen as well. So
yeah, unfortunately, once again he couldn't join.
Yeah, that's a pity.
He says hi though.
Here. Yeah, he's.
He works the. Never mind. I was gonna say something about vacation, a limited vacation, but
no. He's a busy guy doing many things.
Well, that's true. That's true as well. And on the 2019 support, obviously, for PNP PowerShell, related on the core as well. But obviously, the core has to be, the PNP CSAM core has to be supporting SharePoint 2019 first, and then we can actually implement the PNP PowerShell support for 2019. Right. And that's coming at some point as well. There's so many things to do. So many interesting things happening.
Oh, yeah.
More resources, more people, right? Yes. Can we somehow increase the amount of hours in a day? Actually,
well, we're hiring in PNP, right?
What?
No. PNP being a virtual team, we're continuously looking to
extend. Absolutely.
expand and grow. So as such, we're hiring, but I mean, we are not a company, but we want to expand. We want to get more people on board. So as such,
we're for the open source,
yes,
being part of the community. Absolutely. So makes a lot of sense.
In a way,
we're not another company. Are you not paid, Waldek? You're paid with love and
well.
Well, in a way, no.
Cool. Anything? Let's close up in a second. What are you waiting to happen for this week? Are you working on something super cool? What's your expectations? 1.7 won't be out yet. So, but anything?
So, meaning I have some more time off to do other things.
Yes. Well, actually, you're helping on the documentation for 1.7, so let's actually be clear on that. But
yeah.
Any other cool stuff what we're spending time on this week? I'm spending time on the provisioning service, so I will need to get that one moving, the one which we actually demonstrated on the Ignite. Yep. So which is meant to basically be, right now it seems to be that we're going to release that relatively soon as a service where Microsoft provides templates. So we're not going to do open source templating and those templates inside of the provisioning service, but people can use that to get cool looking sites like the SharePoint Starter Kit available in their tenant in a matter of minutes. So
and again, the point is that it's a SaaS service that you can use, bring your own tenant and get deployed a template without you having to think about functions, deployment, Azure code. Like you just bring your own tenant, log in, choose a template, done. It's
correct.
It's there.
Correct. That's a really cool setup. We still need to figure out some operational stuff and final approvals and all of that. So, but it's looking pretty good. So
cool.
Anything?
Yeah, from my side, I try to not read too many mails this week because we have a fix, hack, and learn internal week in engineering.
Fix, hack, and learn.
Hack, and learn. So folks are kind of encouraged to play around, learn,
PNP,
and develop.
It's like that sounds like what we've been doing with PNP for years.
For the last few years, yeah.
But for me, it's a reason like, let's focus on producing and writing things this week and getting things out because I have some deliverables. In the modernization space, for example.
But it is actually really cool related on that. It's fix, hack, and learn. And basically, everybody in engineering has a pretty open calendar for this week. So we kind of canceled all of the meetings and everything else. And basically, everybody can decide what is their, where do they spend time? What is their fix? What is their hack? Or what is their learn? And there's different kind of things what people are doing. So
if you're in Redmond, you enter the office in the morning. We close the door. We lock it. We give you a pizza at 5. And
you slide the pizza below the door.
And until you have delivered what you promised, you're not getting out. Okay?
Right, that's how it works.
Ship it, yeah.
Not really, but yeah. That's
kind of.
All right.
Yeah. I think that's it for this one. I think we went way too long again.
Yeah.
Too much to talk about, too many cool things again. So what can I do? But thank you, Bert, for joining on this one. We will definitely be staying in touch on a day-to-day basis anyway. But really, thank you, Waldek. Never mind.
Yes. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thanks,
You're welcome. Great to have you.